One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on to his ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Whistles report he pays his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Day by day, everybody. When we wrote that song, listen, we really fucking meant that shit. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, we got to start off real fucking quick because bees are coming in hot with the 5 spot. Just had to do it, man. He just had to do it. I very much appreciate you, kind sir, and thank you for your patronage and help over to the Insane Wheels page over here. Not only for me, but for you guys in the Breakfast Club as well. By the way, Brother Code as well sent in a $5 cash app right as we hit the go live button, man. So I can't thank you, Brother Code, for that and helping out the show, man. Yes, and that's right. Good morning, Breakfast Club. That's right. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a kind of an interesting morning. Not the headlines are kind of different today, but we have a few breaking stories that we want to go ahead and discuss today, and a lot of it's kind of Russia, Ukraine. But first, what we are going to be discussing on this is President Trump updates, as well as Ukraine and U.S. officials are meeting in Saudi Arabia again. So this is going to be their second time meeting in Saudi Arabia in the Trump presidency. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into the craziness of everything, man, make sure you guys hit that like button. Number one metric of all of YouTube, helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so, by the way. If you guys are brand new to the show, hit that subscribe button because it's also free. Listen, please just consider it. Becoming a member, man, starting only at $2.99 a month, making sure we're not breaking no banks out here or wallets or anything like that. But if it will, don't do it. You know what I mean? But listen, this is our number one way to actually support the Insane Wheels page and movement, what we do here. That's exactly how we don't have to focus on views and all of that stuff. We get to do this way. And that's all because of you guys in the Breakfast Club. So big W to you guys in the Breakfast Club. Listen, all donations, of course, are going to be read live. I don't care if they're super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, membership signups. They're going to be displayed on live for everyone to see. And also, listen, if you guys would like to help out the show monetarily and skip that brutal YouTube 30% cut, then we have these platforms scrolling for the remainder of the show. And of course, I will shout you out. And this is how you get 100% of your money going to support whatever content creator or whatever. So that is the number one way in that aspect. We got Brother Shadow up in here also gifting out a membership. Thank you, kind sir. Very much appreciate your patronage and helping out the show, man. Thank you immensely for, dude, you've been here for a long time, man. So I really appreciate it. We got Martin as well, man. Good to see you. It's actually warm in PA. Hey, I feel that. That's cool. It's nice and warm down here down south as well. We got Rabbit of Chaos. Good to see you, as well as Anson Knowles, Brother Steve Easy. And, you know, we got Wes up in here. That's right. We're getting the party started, cuh. We get down with our bad selves on this side of the internet, you dig? We got War Gorilla. Yes, we are full-on delinquents, by the way. Always appreciate you, kind sir. And yes, we got Naomi up in here. Good to see her as always. Yes, Brother Code, since we just hitting that start button, 14 likes, I can't even complain, man, since we just started. So But thank you all for hanging out with us. We're about to get into a little bit of the madness and see what's happening. But first, got Brother Fester up in here saying good morning, BV, and the rest of you hooligans. I'll be listening in. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Stay blessed, y'all. Yes, sir. I hope that you stay blessed as well. And yes, we have a lot of the new people in here, man. So it's an honor to have all of you here, whether you guys are brand new or you guys have been with me since day one. It doesn't matter to me in that aspect. You guys being here and eventually finding me, right? Whatever the case is, that is to me a blessing. So I can't thank you enough. Yes, and we got Naomi in the chat grifting for me, so it feels ultra good. We got Brother VT as well. We got Tiffany Lance. Good to see you. Hopefully Leah's doing fantastic as well. We got Brother Beezer saying, whatever happened to Yugoslavia? They made the best cars. Shit, homie. I don't know about all them fucking, I don't know. The Germans do all right making cars, man. I'm just going to be honest. We got Brother Hardwire 1%er. Appreciate you, kind sir, as well. Always, Steve Posey. Shit, Breakfast Club is on fire today. We got Lappy as well as Brother Frank. Appreciate you guys as well. And Miss Allegedly. Always appreciate your for hanging out with us and being with us. And I definitely will hug Lucy for you. So I can't thank you enough for hanging out with us. All right, so we're about to get into the fucking craziness, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Let's just get it over with, right? Shit.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Good morning, and thank you so much for waking up with us here on Live Now from Fox. It's
Just waking up. Yeah, no, that did not happen.
Tuesday morning, March 11th.
Breaking news.
I'm Sinead Francine. As we come on the air, we are following breaking news. I want you to take a good look at your screen. This is the latest video we're getting this Tuesday morning as we are learning from the Associated Press, the Russian military saying its air defenses shot down 337 Ukrainian drones over 10 Russian regions overnight. It appears to be the biggest Ukrainian drone attack on Russia in 3 years. Now, to provide some perspective, this happened hours before key Ukraine-U.S.
Now, check this out. Now, they're actually going to update this, and I actually don't know the story. The only reason why I do is because I was going through the breaking news just to get the headlines before we started. They bring this up twice. So there's like an update onto this. As you know, breaking news happens, more information comes out, the longer the shit goes. And we're going to be skipping all the BS anyways. We're going to be kind of focusing on a lot more of the breaking stuff, as well as what we, have in the title here. But Russia shoots down over, 330 plus Ukrainian drones ahead of peace talks. And we do know how destructive these drones can be. We've seen them being flown into fucking buildings and shit, just like what you probably see there. I'm assuming that those were drone attacks and exploding against a building. But I don't know for damn sure, but I'm just saying. We got Brother Code dropping it as well, dropping a 5 membership spot, by the way. My man, I can't thank you enough, kind sir. Not only are you helping me, but you're helping the freaking community, man. You're helping the Breakfast Club. So I very much appreciate you, kind sir. Thank you for your patronage and helping out, man. And yes, that's right, Brother Frank. You said Ball Valve 26. It's happening. Shit. Absolutely. But Brother Code, I can't thank you enough for that, man. Thank you for your support.
Talks are set to begin. The attack, which killed 1 person and wounded several others, comes as a Ukrainian delegation will meet with America's top diplomat in Saudi Arabia about ending the 3-year war with Russia. At this time, there's no
Brother Dwayne, good to see you as well, man. Good morning.
Comment from Ukrainian officials.
Were they flying into fucking cars and shit?
On this attack. A lot to discuss and dissect this morning, so we want to bring into the conversation Senior Counsel at the Lawfare Project, Gerard Filitti. Gerard, good morning. Always a pleasure having you on the show.
Good morning. Pleasure's all mine.
So let's go back a few hours. We are learning overnight, AP reporting that Russia has shot down well over 300 Ukrainian drones. Set the stage for us, because a lot of people are keeping a close eye on this story, hoping for a ceasefire between the two entities.
This does appear to have been the largest.
Yo, Steve, it is going to be fucking lit. The more it just gets better and better and better, dude. It's amazing. You know, it's actually my goal is to just become 1% better each and every day, you know, and that goes for obviously the members only live streams for you guys in the Breakfast Club every Saturday, 10 a.m. CST. For everyone that does not know and the new members, make sure you guys show up Saturday morning. It's every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. CST. Get fucking crazy.
Ukrainian drone attack on Russia targeting Moscow of the war. And it's also interesting to note that last night we saw a number of drones, Russian drones, that were shot down by Ukrainian air defenses over Odessa, Kharkiv, and other regions, including a ballistic missile that was launched by Russia. Altogether, we can see this as a sort of a minor escalation in the war in order for the parties to better position themselves for the ceasefire talk and for the peace talk. This is an effort to show each side that they still have fight left in them and that they can still inflict damage on each other, positioning themselves better for the peace talks that are going to be taking place.
Perfect segue, Gerard, as we are discussing the peace talks. This video just coming in within
This is in Saudi Arabia right now, guys.
in the last hour from our content partners over at Fox News Edge. You can see Secretary of State Marco Rubio, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz.
They're taking lots of pictures right now. Shit.
Meeting with the Ukrainian foreign minister, Ukrainian head of the presidential office, and Ukrainian minister of defense. This is a live look inside of that closed door session. Obviously, the media was asked to leave, Gerard, because they can't share those closed door discussions with the media in real time. But this meeting coming on the heels of this attack, what does this set the stage for?
Well, this is certainly a change of the posture that President Zelensky had in the Oval Office, where he was saying no compromise. This does show that Ukraine is actually willing to sit down and talk and start negotiating one-on-one with the United States as a mediator or intermediary, and then setting the stage for further talks between American officials and Russia to carry forward the message of diplomacy and to discuss the terms of a ceasefire and possible peace deal. Now, it's also important to note that this is in Saudi Arabia, not in Qatar or Europe, because the Trump administration is satisfied.
Now that is funny, allegedly. W allegedly, by the way.
Yet another policy goal, which is redeveloping closer ties with the Saudis, seeing them as a stable, long-term regional partner.
Yo, Steve, do me a favor. Drop his link real quick, or somebody, one of the mods, grab Papa Penguin's channel link and link it in the chat for everybody real quick.
In the Middle
That'd be
East.
awesome.
And Gerard, a lot of people wanting to know, with this U.S. delegation.
Okay. I see it. I see it.
Representatives for President.
Sorry, Steve was already fucking on it.
Donald Trump. There are concerns about this meeting coming on the heels with that heated discussion with President Donald Trump, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and we also saw VP Vance in those chambers. Do you think this conversation will be much lighter, or do you think they will hold strong to what President Trump is trying to accomplish?
Well, I think the American delegation will certainly hold strong to what President Trump is trying to accomplish. And the fact that the Ukrainians are sitting at the table at all is an indication that they understand that in order to have peace, in order to have a ceasefire, they do need to compromise, which is a movement from the direction that President Zelensky set.
Yeah, we got to move away from NATO. That's what we need to do. Move away from NATO. Do you hear me loud and clear over there? Russia/Ukraine. Both of you fuckers. Yeah. Ukraine, stay out of fucking NATO, you idiots.
In the Oval Office and beforehand, which was basically an intent to defeat Russia and not to have compromise.
Brother Straight.
So this really sets the stage for more meaningful talks and a deeper understanding of the issues. I think what we saw in the White House and the Oval Office was really an emotional outburst on the part of President Zelensky. Understandably so. His nation has been dealing with Russian aggression, this horrible war, for years now. So for him and his people,
he doesn't even have food stamps left, dude.
It's personal. But at the diplomacy table, negotiating.
Did they take away his wick too? Shit.
I think you will see cool and level heads discussing a meaningful compromise that would result in the end of the fighting.
Good morning.
Gerard, I know we mentioned this months ago, but I'd love to bring it back to the conversation today because we know EU allies are also on the forefront of these discussions. How do relations with the UK, with other EU alliances, play a part in these talks with the US and Ukraine?
Well, Europe has seen more willing to be providing arms supplies to Ukraine, more willing to help Ukraine to actually combat Russian aggression and not pushing as hard for a ceasefire or compromises. So you have two sides here. You have President Trump trying to play the peacemaker, and you have Europe, which now also understands and wants peace.
Yo, brother KP, that is absolutely right, by the way. Hit that like button. You listen, you guys don't have to like that there's warfare going on in the world. You guys don't have to like that there's craziness, granted, but you guys can like it for me and my takes, over here and supporting me for what I do, as well as some Left-Handed Tobacco. You could say screw all that, but I still like the Left-Handed Tobacco. Boom. You know what I mean? And if you don't like the video, everybody, just dislike it twice. Hit that dislike twice. So anyways, back to, this first and then back to that. How about that? Oh, that feels good. All right, we're back to action.
But not at any cost. So Ukraine has a number of options. They don't need to give up as much as they would normally, perhaps, under Russian pressure,
Warland.
because they do have continued backing from European nations. And Europe, we have to remember, is more familiar with Russian aggression. They saw it firsthand with the expansion of the Soviet Union after World War II and an Iron Curtain anti-democratic forces descending on Europe from Russia. There's much more concern in Europe that this type of fighting that's taking place in Ukraine will affect them, will expand to them. We saw Poland now planning to mobilize men for military service and training because of the conflict in Ukraine. So Europe is very much concerned that Russia needs to be set back and not have these ambitions for territorial conquest. And at the same time, the United States wants to see peace and an end to fighting.
Exactly, by the way, Steve Posey. Listen, I don't know why they are so adamant with NATO. I just don't, I don't understand, especially when that was the agreement that they would stay neutral in that aspect, that they wouldn't allow NATO on their borders like that. This is all very, in my opinion, simple. I mean, I know it's deeper than just that, but just that aspect, we could fucking stop the war. You know what I mean? Like we could, and it's all over this NATO bullshit. And honestly, I believe that we need to defund completely. And I've said this over and over and over again, and I have to just reiterate it every time because it's that important, is that NATO is such a garbage organization and such a biased one, just like the UN, just like the EU. All those garbage organizations need to be fucking canned. All of them. We need to defund them as Americans. I mean, this is totally not in our interest. People will make that argument that it is. It's not in our interest. None of that shit is for our interest, and I'll take it a step further, ladies and gentlemen. We need to go ahead and defund all 3-letter and 4-letter agencies in the United States. I said it all. Back to this.
And you mentioned the phrase, what is the cost? And I think that's what the Trump presidency is keeping a close eye on. Obviously, a fact that they want to aid their allies in this fight. But
real quick, Brother Pitbull coming in hot with 2 gifted memberships, by the way. I see you, homie. Thank you, kind sir, for sending those in, by the way. My man, thank you immensely for that. I very much appreciate your help all the way over there in the UK. Kind sir, always appreciate that.
Keep in mind that the funding for this battle
Me too,
is
Wes.
what's causing
Me
a lot
too.
of concern and confusion this morning, and honestly controversy, if we're being honest.
Well, a lot of controversy because a lot of U.S. dollars have gone into this fight, and there is yet to be seen some meaningful progress. We're seeing Ukraine surviving. We're seeing Ukraine holding on, but they have not made significant advances, especially in the last year, to warrant such massive outspending by the United States. And of course, there's a concern that some of this money is being squandered, is being wasted, is being stolen, is not making its way into the battle. And American taxpayers are wondering why we need to keep paying for people to be dying in a conflict when there are other things that should be done instead, like focusing on the United States. So there's considerable pressure on the U.S. with funding. That's also why we saw the signing of that framework of a deal for Ukraine's mineral resources, for a redevelopment fund, to start to get back some of the investment that America's made in this war. But an infinite investment in war is never a good cost. It's too costly in human lives and in terms of destruction.
Well, Gerard, again, we do see that the talks are happening right now. Video, again, provided by our content partner.
Shit, I got to turn off my heater right now. It is hot up in this bitch. Let me go ahead and bring that down. All right, we're good. Just had to do that real quick.
Partners at Fox News as just about an hour ago, and we can see Rubio and Waltz in those close.
No. See, that's the whole thing. She don't need no NATO to do that. She got me to do that. No need for NATO. That's some garbage ass organization to do that.
Sessions with Ukrainian officials. I know you don't have a crystal ball, but many people wanting to know this morning what comes next after these closed door meetings.
What comes next? I think you will see closed-door meetings between the U.S. and Russian officials. The U.S. officials, Marco Rubio and Tim Waltz, will be expressing the Ukrainian position to the Russians and seeing where there is room for compromise and what the absolutes are. This is going to be a drawn-out process. It's not going to be resolved in a few days or even a few weeks. This will take time, but it shows goodwill of both sides to be moving forward with these discussions.
Senior counsel with the Lawfare Project, Gerard Filitti, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your perspective and expertise.
Yo, we got Brother Carney coming in at the end of this breaking news segment because we're about to move on over a little bit, and then we're going to be coming back to this discussion regarding the drones. There was an update on these drones that are happening in Russia, or regards to Ukraine, actually, but it was done by Russia, right? But Carney, good morning to you, kind sir. Hopefully you're doing fantastic. And yes, sir, we get fucking crazy out here.
Expertise on all things international conflict. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. You as well.
Thank you. I want to get back to this breaking news. We continue to follow this.
They're going right back into it, and then they're going to go into it again later on because it's way up here somewhere.
Morning. Take a look at your screen, a live look out in Russia.
Yeah, and Lucy's sleeping right now. She's on her blanket sleeping. Well, yeah, she's over there, right there.
Tuesday morning here at 6:07 on the East Coast as we continue to follow this breaking news alert from the Associated Press. Russia shoots down 337 Ukrainian drones ahead of those peace talks. But the good news is those peace talks still happening on this Tuesday, despite the conflict with Russia and Ukraine overnight. This is a developing story, so make sure you're staying tuned to Live Now from Fox. We're going to go ahead and take our first 2-minute commercial break of the hour.
No, we're not. We're not doing none of that. All right. So here is another breaking news story that's happening over in the Philippines, I believe. So former Philippine President Duterte arrested on ICC warrant over drug killings. So the International Criminal Court actually charged the Philippines president, I guess former, wow, interesting. Let's go ahead and find out what's happening here.
Now from Fox 19.
This is being reported straight from the AP, which is the Associated Press, right?
Hey, Francine, we continue with your breaking news headlines this Tuesday morning. Right now, giving
you Ghost, good morning.
Out in Manila. This is live
good to
from
see you.
Villamor Air Base. As the Philippine government says, ex-president Rodrigo Duterte has been arrested.
Oh, shit. We got Brother Trouble up in here. Oh, man. Everyone hide. Everyone hide. Good to see Trouble up in here, man. Good to see you.
At Manila Airport. I want to provide further perspective from our
as well as Danny
over at the
all the legends.
Associated Press. Again, they say former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte was arrested at Manila's International Airport on this Tuesday in order of the International Criminal Court in connection with a case of crime against humanity filed against him. That coming from the Philippines.
Oh, just fucking dropping the craziest breaking news that's happening around the world. Shit, that's what we do around these parts.
Government. Right now, I want to show you the latest video of Duterte provided by our content partners. We know Duterte was arrested after arriving from Hong Kong, and police took him into custody on orders of the ICC, which has been investigating the mass killings that happened under the former president's deadly crackdown against illegal drugs. That coming from the current president's office in a statement. We do have a quote.
Hey, Ghost, I respect that. Just wanted to say that. Just halt the whole show to tell everyone that I respect that and make sure everyone hits that like button. Boom.
Says, upon his arrival, the prosecutor general served the ICC notification for an arrest warrant to the former president for the crime against humanity. That again coming from the local
Nope, you're twerking, dude. You're twerking. I get you. I respect it.
He's now in the custody of authorities, end quote. The surprise arrest sparked a commotion at the airport where lawmakers and aides of Duterte loudly protested that they, along with a doctor and lawyers, were prevented from coming close to him after he was taken into police custody. They say, quote, this is a violation of his
So the current Philippine government set this up, which it makes sense where he got arrested, right?
constitutional rights. The warrant of arrest sent by the ICC to Philippine officials, a copy of which was seen by the AP, said, quote, there are reasonable grounds to believe that the attack on victims was both widespread and systematic. The attack took place over a period of several years, and thousands of people appear to have been killed, end quote. It is said that
Something wrong. What's up, Trigger Warning? Good to see you.
although Duterte was no longer president, he appears to continue to wield considerable power. This is a developing story, taking you back out to Manila here at 612 on the East Coast as this story develops. Again, this story just coming into our live now from Fox Studios as you are taking a live look from Villamor Air Base as the Philippine government says ex-president Rodrigo Duterte has been arrested at Manila Airport. We have seen some protests this morning in the area. People flocking outside of this area with signs, also outside of the airport. A tense time, but we continue to follow the latest right here on Live Now from Fox. We're also following other breaking news.
Yo, we got Fredo up in the building. Shout out to my man, by the way. Good morning to you, kind sir. And it's always an honor hanging out with you, as well as Frederick up in here as well. Appreciate both of you guys for hanging out this beautiful morning because you guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you guys decided to be right here with me, man. So let's get back to the world's madness.
This morning, I want to transition the shot on your screen to the latest video that has come in from our content partners over at the Associated Press. It's a very busy breaking news day on this Tuesday. We are learning bright and early this Tuesday morning.
Jesse, good to see you again, by the way. I do remember you, kind sir. Hopefully you're doing fantastic.
From the Associated Press, tragic news, learning
Look,
that a
dog
bus
up in here. Good
overturned
morning,
on
kind
a
sir.
highway today, and passengers were thrown
So hold on.
out.
What they're saying on here, let me go ahead. So the Associated Press is reporting breaking news. 12 are dead, dozens injured in bus crash on a highway in South Africa over there by brother Chris Lestrange. You know what I mean? He's over there in South Africa. I guess we got to ask him what the fuck is going on down here with your people, cuz.
Of it, killing at least 12 people and injuring 45. This in the South African city of Johannesburg. Emergency crews are trying to lift the bus back onto its wheels to see if any more victims are trapped underneath it. That coming from a spokesperson for the city's emergency management. She did provide a quote to the Associated Press saying, on arrival, we found patients lying across the road. I will say viewer discretion is advised as they do have sheets covering the bodies there on this screen. The early morning crash happened.
Yo, Christopher, good to see you as well.
On a highway
Good
near
morning.
Johannesburg's main highway near the international airport. The bus lying on its side near the edge of the highway, it was transporting people from the township east of Johannesburg. Again, we're learning 12 people were declared dead at the scene of the crash by paramedics. We're also learning exactly
Some potatoes. Shit. Good. That's awesome, man. So I'm guessing that you have like a farm or something like that. I live kind of on a farm. I guess farm property kind of. But it's really actually, it started off as a sod farm where I live. But now none of that. We don't sell anything like that. But anyways.
Details on the extent of the injuries are not yet provided, but they do range from serious to critical. The driver among those taken to the hospital. Again, this is preliminary information from our content.
Oh, no. My vape just died. I got to switch out this battery real quick. Gonna go ahead and do that real quick. Take me 2 seconds.
Partners at the Associated Press. This is the latest video. You can see traffic stopped on those bound lanes there and blocked in both directions there, just so people can figure out and assess this breaking news scene. Of course, we will continue to follow this story throughout the morning. As we continue with your headlines, right now I want to transition and give you a live look out in Vatican City here at 614 on the East Coast, as we now transition to learn the very latest of Pope Francis. After now spending more than 3 weeks in the hospital, Pope Francis's medical battles do continue, but now some good news. Doctors finally revealing his prognosis. While experts are still practicing caution this morning, the latest updates do indicate Pope Francis's health is improving. Fox News' Ted Linder reporting now on the latest.
Ah, shit. All right, we're good. All right, Pope
Once heavily
Francis.
guarded.
We know that he's getting better and better every day, which is exactly what we would hope for. Okay, so the EU Parliament debate on the future of European defense could care less about any of this, honestly. And they prattle on for like a fucking hour. All right, so let's go ahead and see what the House spending bill could cut. It says it could cut $1 billion in DC funds alone. And I think this has to do a little bit as well with like, not just what you guys are seeing here, but you guys, even the BLM shit was like being covered up. Like all this crap is being covered up, you know? So there's a lot of money that has to go into not just that, but that's probably one of the aspects that they're going to talk about here. All right, let's go and see where we're at here.
Makers now debating a proposal that includes major budget cuts for DC. This all comes as the city begins.
Yeah, that's probably not the best ideas, Brother Steve Easy. I know shooting yourself in the grill is not probably the best decisions, you know. But hey, at least you can't say I'm boring or something, you know?
Moving Black Lives Matter Plaza amid pressure from Republicans.
Yeah, it's because the other one was dead too.
Fox 5 DC's Melanie Onwick joining us live this morning in Northwest DC with the latest details. Melanie, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So, 700,000 federal taxpayers, residents live here in Washington, D.C. A lot of people don't realize. They think that the budget comes from federal money. In fact, it does not. It comes from the taxpayers here who live and live in Washington, D.C. But Congress does have to appropriate the money, and this is where the problem comes. City leaders are now pressing Congress. They're saying that these unnecessary budget cuts will do a lot of damage, and they'll also work against the Trump administration's goal of making D.C. the most beautiful capital city in the world. Now, Black Lives Matter Plaza, which has been over the last 5 years a symbol of pride, succumbing to jackhammers Monday. This was a compromise, a concession from the city to the Trump administration. Now, D.C. leaders say the proposed budget cuts from Congress
What's up, Brother VT?
undermine their goals. The mayor and city council members on Capitol Hill warning that these budget cuts could mean layoffs and hiring freezes for police, firefighters, teachers, and other essential city services. Visitors are trying to come to terms with losses on many fronts.
If the Congress goes through with this action, it will work against a priority that President Trump.
Yo, Stephanie, good to see you as well. Good to see you. Hopefully you stay safe out there. Absolutely.
And I share. And that is to make Washington, D.C. the best, most beautiful city in the world.
And the budget cuts coming from House Republicans' proposed temporary measure to
Yo,
keep the
Charles Darwin from Down Under. Good to see my man over there, our Aussie friend over there. Shit.
government open until September. Those members of Congress treating D.C. like a federal agency, directing a budget rollback to 2024 spending levels. That's more than $1 billion that District of Columbia residents have paid in federal taxes. Now, the city is also asking.
Yeah, that's right. Don't judge Charles, ladies and gentlemen, because he is, because he doesn't wear any pants. Judge him because he's an Aboriginal.
Oh, shit!
All right, back to this.
The ability to control its own local resources should indeed we get to the point of a government shutdown. That would mean some devastating impacts to the city. And again, this is something that members of Congress have done for the city in many years past, saying, yes, this is in fact your own money. You can spend it even during.
Yo, DC has been a whole ass shithole as well. Fuck. How long now do you think that it's just been a garbage fucking city? I mean, aside from, the White House, all the Capitol building, shit like that. As a whole, the city, oh my God. It's been like that for what? A bare minimum, 30 years?
Shutdown. So at this point, people are just bracing for even deeper impacts. We're talking, Gina, about things like fire, metro, police, everything that not only residents.
Shit, if they're jealous of me, that's a different conversation. But if they're jealous of, I think jealousy is not a good attribute really ever to answer that, Hook Dog. Controlling or passive, I don't like those things necessarily either.
But visitors expect from a capital city.
Makes sense. Fox 5 DC's Melanie Alnwick, always stellar and detailed breakdown. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you. As we continue with your headlines this morning, I want you to take a good look at your screen, keeping a close eye on this developing story. Investors this morning hoping for a big rebound today after the markets were walloped yesterday. The Dow had its worst day of the year. As Fox News correspondent Doug Luzader reports from Washington this morning, much of it was fueled by fears of a recession and a trade war.
And escalating.
Yo, Cowboy, my man, good to see you. And he says since the mid-70s. That makes sense. But hopefully you're doing fantastic as well, Cowboy.
Trade war and
Good morning.
President Trump not ruling out the possibility of a recession this year combined to send the markets into a tailspin. At the sound of the bell yesterday, investors retreated back to their corners, beat up. The markets had been on a roller coaster.
Good morning, Imperius. By the way, kind sir, I did see you. I just was scrolling too fast, I guess. But good morning, kind sir. Hopefully you're doing well.
With the Dow closing nearly 900 points down.
It is in full correction mode, which is 10%.
Why the uncertainty? A growing tariff war, and over the weekend, the president seemed to leave open the possibility of a recession.
I hate to predict things like that.
Later in the day yesterday, White House officials tried to soothe investors.
The first quarter is going to squeak into the positive category, and then the second quarter is going to take off as everybody sees the reality of the tax cuts.
But to add to the uncertainty, there is a growing possibility of a partial government shutdown on Friday.
If the government shuts down, there is no mystery about who's to blame.
The Democrats blamed Republicans, and they plan to block a continuing resolution, or CR, to keep the government funded unless it includes limits on the president's power to cut spending. Republicans will have to do this more or less on their own, with the House Speaker sounding optimistic.
The CR will pass. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, he says, because the House is set to vote today on a measure to keep the government open, and it is going to
Yo, Joseph up there in Canada, our snow Mexican friend. Good to see my man right there. He's saying, good morning, Mr. Ball, Lucy, Breakfast Crew, BNC, and can't forget the haters. Stop the cap.
Stop the cap.
That's right. Shit.
Very tight.
Good morning, sir.
In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
All right, Doug, thank you so much. We'll definitely be keeping a close eye. We're going to go ahead and go to our final 2-minute commercial break of the hour.
No, we're not. No, we're not. We're going to go right into some more. Now, we're going to see if they're just looping this. I don't think so. It says live. So let's go ahead and see.
Back into the European Parliament debate this morning as they were discussing defense for Ukraine. But before we do so, I want to share with you a new live feed coming into
new live feed. Okay, so it is new.
Live now from Fox Studio. It comes on the heel of breaking news we shared with you off the top of the 6 o'clock hour as we are learning from our content partners at the Associated Press that...
You know what? I'm down with that. So Straight says if we get 50 likes on this video right now, everybody, he's going to get his wife pregnant again. So let's go ahead and make sure that we go ahead and hit that like button. We like, making babies around these parts, you know what I mean? Hell yeah, I support that shit.
Former Philippine President
even though he's already got 7.
Rodrigo Duterte was arrested on an international criminal court warrant over drug killings. I told you all that there were several protests coming amid this news, and you're getting a live look of that protest in action. This happening outside of Villamor Air Base.
What's up, Mouse Star, by the way? Good morning to you.
The Philippine government saying that ex-president Duterte has been arrested at the Manila airport. And you can see the protests erupting, people holding flags and signs and chanting on this Tuesday morning. We'll continue to keep a close eye on this breaking news alert. Other top stories we continue to follow relate to the latest with Ukraine and Russia this morning. Also learning of breaking news. This one
shit trigger
takes us out.
That's funny.
Russia on this Tuesday. As you can see, we are learning also from the Associated Press that Russia shot down more than 330 Ukrainian drones. This ahead of peace talks happening out in Saudi Arabia this Tuesday morning. We did show video of how Secretary of State Marco Rubio and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, they did arrive to Saudi Arabia to have those closed door sessions with Ukrainian officials. I actually want to show you all some of that video briefly of that session. Again, we weren't able to get actual audio from this, and you can understand why, because highly top secret information that is shared, but we did get the image inside showing that they did arrive safely before these closed
you like
discussions.
making a mess. Yes, I see you.
That the conflict that happened overnight between Russia and Ukraine would impact the discussions, but
yo, Miss Lotus, good to see you. Hopefully you got home safe from Daytona Beach and enjoying. You had a good time, you know. Hopefully that was the case. Good to see you, though.
Discussions are still happening out in Saudi Arabia, and of course, we'll continue to provide updates throughout the day. All right, and coming as these discussions are happening, as I mentioned, out in Strasbourg, France, the conversation, it does continue this morning with European Parliament as they do debate European defense. Should they do more?
I don't care about that. I don't care about them continuing this fucking 3-4 hour debate. I could care less. You guys essentially just go up there just to ask for more money. That's like all of that bullshit. That's always like just attempting to get money. That's all it is. That's all it is. All right. So let's go ahead and just skip through. Kentucky governor hosts prayer breakfast. All right. Over there in Frankfurt. All right, we're skipping ahead because we don't need to hear that. I'm going to be honest. And it goes on for a minute too. So damage assessed after a tornado hits north of Orlando.
Say there's a potential tornado. What if there's a tornado? But this was a confirmed tornado. And to see it on the screen versus seeing it in person is a completely different experience and brings it all home. And it's a reminder of...
Yo, Mr. Boulay, by the way... Just got to say, we got Alabama's finest up in the building saying, good morning, one and all, working, lurking, expanding the influence of the American industrial, military industrial complex, one memo at a time. Yes, sir.
Oh, shit.
Good to see my man up in here. Always appreciate you hanging out with us.
Why it's so important to stay on top of the weather. That's why we do what we do, Josh. Our mission is to take our
why we do what we do,
tracking weather, and use it to help the community. And it's been terrible to see the damage here, but we're just so happy to hear and to know that somehow, out of all of the damage of this 4-mile path through a highly populated suburb north of Orlando, there was not one injury.
Definitely good news, and I know you definitely saved a lot of lives. Brooks Gardner there, meteorologist with Fox 35 Orlando. I know you're very busy and have to do some live hits here for your local station. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, so now we're going to go ahead and, just got a little bit of a look on what's happening there. Okay, so at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, by the way, the House will vote on budget to prevent shutdown. Interesting. All right. So that's at 1:30 Eastern. That'll be 12:30 p.m. CST my time. So unfortunately, we will not get it on this live stream, but we will know by tomorrow for damn sure. Okay. And present it to you guys. Anyways, we're going to go back into Russia again, or actually Ukraine. Well, I guess it is in Russia that they shot it down, right? So Russia shoots down, and it was 330 plus originally. What they quoted in the original breaking news is 330 plus Ukrainian drones were shot down. Now the actual number is 337 to be exact. Let's go ahead and figure out what's happening here.
In the Oval Office. As always, a lot to discuss here, so I do want to bring in an expert to help do just that. We do have Dimitris Tsaroupas, Virginia Tech foreign relations expert and visiting professor of political science. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
No, it's all good on my side.
Of course. And I do want to start by asking you, what is the significance of this meeting in Saudi Arabia between Ukraine and the U.S., which is underway as we're talking here?
I think it's a very important meeting because it will set the tone of how the negotiation towards a lasting peace in Ukraine can be set. As you mentioned right there, the events in the White House have left a very bitter taste in the mouth of many Americans, but also certainly President Zelensky in Ukraine. They realize that the stakes are now high and that there has to be some kind of coordination and resolution of bilateral differences so that
Can this guy like be speaking into a worse laptop microphone? Can we get it normalized anytime that we bring on these like political analysts? Like, I'm a political analyst, right? But I'm not conventionally, like the way that these guys, I guess, are. But at least have a fucking microphone so we can, you're speaking to, hundreds of thousands of people live, and then this shit's going to be fucking thrown around the world. It's like, can we invest in not having just a lame ass fucking laptop microphone? Like, yo, don't we have some standards here? I want to be able to hear what the fuck you're saying. I don't want to have to hear your bathroom echoing back behind you. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck, dude?
Hopefully the United States and Ukraine can go to those negotiations on a unified front and present Russia with a particular set of demands to make sure that we can reach this ceasefire and then step by step, hopefully go to a lasting peace.
Yo, Lily up in here. Good morning to you. Hopefully you're doing fantastic. Shit.
That was some of the video there that you were looking at of Secretary of State Marco Rubio as those conversations were getting underway. You kind of touched on this, but why Saudi Arabia? What is kind of the reasoning behind that overall?
Well, you mean the meat spot? Theoretically, that's supposed to be neutral ground.
Saudi Arabia has profiled itself as a mediator in relations between Russia and the West for some time.
Right, which is known as, it is totally, that ground right there, it's supposed to be neutral. Supposed to be. Now, is it actually? Of course not. It never actually is. But that is what we have agreed to.
We know that Saudi Arabia has been a traditional ally of the United States and has cultivated good relations with European nations as well. But over the last few years, it's also trying to improve relations with Russia. It is seen as one of those nations that can be trusted to potentially mediate between the two sides. And as we saw a few weeks ago, the resumption of diplomatic talks between the new US administration and Russia took place in Riyadh as well. So I think that for the United States, Saudi Arabia is a place where negotiations can be held right now. And I think that Russia also trusts Saudi Arabia to be a trustful partner in sort of trying to mediate relations between the two sides.
Can the relationship be repaired between Zelensky and Trump and really Ukraine and the U.S.? Again, these talks underway right now as we're speaking, and the discussion all about the war that's been going on for more than 3 years here. So can that relationship really be repaired?
Yes, it counts. It definitely counts, Charles.
I think this is a very, very important question here. This relationship has to be repaired.
Yo, Brother Lee, good morning to you, by the way, kind sir. Always appreciate you hanging out with us. Yeah, you have missed a lot of essentially Russia, Ukraine. It's been kind of like a big hot topic this morning, a lot of breaking news regarding it. And we're underway as well in Saudi Arabia, sitting down, discussing, with Ukraine, how we're going to go underway in this.
Remember that when the war began, when Russia invaded Ukraine back in 2022, the United States has been above and beyond in supporting Ukraine. It has been the first provider of military aid. It has offered all possible political support to Zelensky to make sure that Ukraine can withstand the force of Russia. And very crucially, it has been the country whose intelligence sharing allowed for the Ukrainians to
Brother SNS as well. Good morning to you.
a large part of Russia's advances. It has been able to use its drones in a way that was very militarily successful, and so on and so forth. So American support to Ukraine is indispensable to any kind of lasting peace arrangement in the country. And that is something that I think Zelensky has understood pretty well. That's something that Europeans have understood.
That's a great picture, by the way, Naomi.
Pretty well,
Naomi.
Because they kept on saying that the only real offer on the table, if you like, the only real deal that can be made is the American proposal. So unless relations between the United States and Ukraine go back to a much better environment, I can't really see how President Zelensky and Ukraine will be able to bring this,
as well as Bob up there in Canada as well. Good morning to you.
To some kind of a successful conclusion. Now, it's certainly going to be quite difficult to get there. The atmosphere soured 10 days ago during these White House events, and we also know now that there has been a pause, as the State Department confirmed, of intelligence sharing with Ukraine, which puts more pressure on Ukraine to actually come to the table and reach an agreement more quickly. And therefore,
don't tell anyone. Don't be telling them our secrets.
The big question for me here is, once these talks between the United States and Ukraine conclude, will they be able to come up with a common platform? Will they be able to unite around one set
What's up, Jack? Good to see you, by the way.
That Washington can then bring to Russia and demand that they also agree to them. So
no, don't do that.
Fire, and then hopefully, long-lasting talks for a peace agreement.
One thing I was
be safe out there, brother Steve. Always appreciate your endless support, bro. Hopefully you have an enjoyable rest of your Tuesday.
Hoping you can kind of explain, because a lot of people have asked questions about this. There is not able to be an election right now for president in Ukraine. Can you kind of break down for folks out there watching why that is the reasoning?
Sure, that's a very easy one. Ukraine actually has been in war since 2022, and as usually happens in situations of war, the president declared martial law. So if you have a martial law going on, it's going to be, I think, very difficult to actually have free and fair elections the way we would like them to be, because folks in places which have been under constant shelling, especially in the eastern part of Ukraine, will have quite some difficulty in taking part in those elections. So I think you can hold them if you want, and if you really want to sort of force them to the leadership of Ukraine.
And you know what is a perfect timing while this is wrapping up? Because after this, there is no more breaking news. And except for we've been live for 50 minutes, unless there's been something that's broken in the last 50 minutes. I'm checking right now, just to make sure if we're making sure we're not breaking any. Oh, there is. Oh, Southwest. Oh, I don't give a fuck. Oh, Southwest to charge or some free of charge for checked bags. Who gives a fuck? Why is that? Like Southwest to charge fee for checked bag. Okay, like so we're making like breaking news out of this. Like, what are we fucking doing? Okay, whatever. Okay, well, let's go ahead and try to find our spot here. I got ADD moment and I needed to see what the fuck that was because I couldn't read it. So we're gonna go ahead and bring it. Try to find where the hell we just jumped the gun from. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to look up someone that is live right now, and I'll let you guys know who it's going to be as soon as we're done with this segment. And then we're going to be sending a raid over.
Ukraine will be able to bring this to some kind of a successful conclusion. Now, it's certainly going to be quite difficult to get there. The atmosphere soured 10 days ago during these White House events. And we also know now that there has been a pause, as the State Department confirmed, of intelligence sharing with Ukraine, which puts more pressure on Ukraine to actually come to the table and reach an agreement more quickly. And therefore, the big question for me here is, once these talks...
Yes, of course we do, Mr. Lee Lance. We got Mr. Boulay, who is into numismatics. I mean, this guy specializes in that, gold, coin, like all that kind of shit. Any like rare metals. Yeah, man. Hopefully he's in the chat and you can ask him whatever you want.
The United States and Ukraine conclude, will they be able to come up with a common platform? Will they be able to unite around one?
Yeah, he's not going to know anything about stamps, I don't think. But I do know that what he specializes in is definitely that stuff.
Demands that Washington can then bring to Russia and demand that they also agree to them, so we can finally have a ceasefire and then hopefully, long-lasting talks for a peace agreement.
One thing I was hoping you could kind of explain.
Yeah, so Mr. Boulay, I got my brother Lee Lance up in here, and he says, does anyone in chat know anyone that knows coins? I said, I absolutely do. You're the man. So if he's got any questions, go to you, damn straight.
Because a lot of people have asked questions about this. There is not able to be an election right now for president in Ukraine. Can you kind of break down for folks out there watching why that is the reasoning?
Sure, that's a very easy one. Ukraine actually has been in war since 2022, and as usually happens in situations of war, the president declared martial law. So if you have a martial law going on, it's going to be
Any other questions?
To actually have free and fair elections the way we would like them to be, because folks in places which have been under constant shelling, especially in the eastern part of Ukraine, will have quite.
Okay, so now we were right around this area right as we were as soon as I skipped forward. So anyways, we're almost done with this guy, and I'm going to look up who's live right this second.
Difficulty in taking part in those elections. So I think you can hold them if you want, and if you really want to sort of force them to the leadership of Ukraine. The problem there is, will they be free? Will they be fair? Will all Ukrainian citizens be able to participate? I don't think that's going to be the case. And I don't think there is so much of a public appetite in Ukraine itself for the elections. I mean, Zelensky's popularity has certainly not remained as high as it was when Russia first invaded. And I'm sure there are many people who want this war to come to an end.
Man, there's nobody live right now. But we do have one person that we have live, and we'll send over. His name is Chatting with Stacks. He's I don't really know the guy. I've never really watched his content, but he's always talking about motorcycle clubs and stuff like that. I really don't know the dude's background. I don't know if dude's actually been involved or anything like that. But he kind of talks about the main things that are happening in the scene. So why not? We'll give it a shot one time, and if dude's cool, we'll keep it that way. If not, hey, no problem.
An end as soon as possible. But on the other hand, I don't think that it makes sense for the Ukrainian priority right now to be elections immediately. Maybe they can take some of their time, and then once we have some kind of a lasting peace, they can go on a democratic election as soon as possible.
Dimitris, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here and help.
Yeah, and he's in the Discord, by the way, Lee. Mr. Boulay's in my Discord. So if you search up on the side where all the members are, you'll see him. Absolutely.
Break it down a little bit further. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And I do want to pop this.
That was perfect to be able to close out actually right there. That was a perfect way to do it. That means Mike stays online? Hell nah. Shit.
Oh, shit.
Listen, you got to... Listen, especially if you're doing and that's a good thing, by the way, Carney. But if you're doing an everyday show like that I do, you don't want to sit here and at least this is my mindset is if you're going to do an everyday show, you have to leave people wanting more. There's no way that you're going to succeed by doing, let's say 3, 4, 5, 6 hour live streams reporting news. You know what I mean? You want people to be wanting more. You don't want them to be oh fuck, he's still live, Jesus, he's I look at it that way. I just look at it that way. I try to give you guys quality rather than quantity, and I know that's cliche, but I really fucking mean that. And we got Gunpowder Nitro up in the building right here at the end, kind sir, but hey man, I appreciate it. I do want to see what you guys are saying about Stacks, because I see you guys saying a few things. We got Stacks is cool, which is great. Let's see. We've got Stacks is decent from what I have seen. He does decent content. Okay, cool. I've never actually watched him. I know that he's watched me a couple of times, but I just want to, anytime that I can try to show a little love to somebody, even if I don't know you, you know what I mean? hopefully they're well receptive to it. And if they're not, you know, hey, no problem. No problem at all. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for your endless support and allowing me to be able to do what I do here, man. I'm very, very honored by that. Thank you guys for hitting that like button. I know you guys don't necessarily have to like everything that's happening in the world, but listen, you guys can like my takes and what I have to say about it and help me in my mission. And I can't thank you guys enough for doing that. But until tomorrow morning for more of the world's madness, you know, 10 a.m. CST every single day, except for Sunday. That's my one day off. I get one day, you know, where I don't have to be on camera. With that being said, hopefully everyone has a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe out there, and God bless everybody. See you guys tomorrow morning.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges.